hopefully everybody who wanted coffee got coffee. But welcome to almost the end of our retreat. We're sliding into the last day tomorrow. Just a reminder, tomorrow we do start again at 9 o'clock in this room again. Surprise, right? But we're going to have a really exciting evening tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to hear from some different speakers and a little bit about volunteers and from our lovely guiding scribe, Denny. So lots to happen, and then we're going to give out the awards. Oh, I can see myself right on there. All right, so good morning, you got to look at yourself. Okay, so we are going to get started, and I'm going to turn the mic over to Christy to kick us off.
Hey everybody, I guess I have to stay here. I was going to walk around, but we have a webcam here. I wish I could turn it around and have all you guys wave. So everybody make noise so everybody can hear you. Oh, there it goes. Awesome. We got to include all the people. So I was talking to somebody and I said that we have about 1,900 members, and they were surprised. Did you not know that we have so many members? Like, it feels like this really intimate, awesome group because we're all here. But we are an international organization. For those of you, raise your hand if you do the write-ins. If you do the write-ins. Okay, raise your hand if you're going to start doing the write-ins. Okay, thank you. So we have a gal in Japan who gets up at 1 in the morning or stays up until 1 in the morning to join us to write. Wow. Okay, so if she can do that, what's your excuse? I'm telling you, you're missing out. We have, I think I said it in our annual meeting, 790 opportunities for you to join the writing dates, which is a pretty darn awesome thing. So I'm not going to go through all of the things, the great things about WFWA, because I think if you haven't figured it out by now, you are getting a better idea by being here. The thing that I always say when people ask me about this organization that I'm a part of is community. Like if I could think of one word to describe this organization, it is all about community. And I've heard it so many times, this thing that we do, we're sitting in our room, we're by ourselves. I mean, we're not really by ourselves, right? Because we've got all those characters in our heads. But we really are, just making something out of nothing. And it's so amazing that we have these people. And look around you. Like, the people that are here are not people that you would just walk up to and talk to necessarily. We're such a unique group of people. We all write women's fiction, but we all write different little flavors of women's fiction. And I think that we've had some incredible teaching by Angie. Yeah. But I also think that we have a lot to learn from each other. And we're all in different stages of where we are. I am pre-published. If you haven't used that term, that is the term you need to use when someone asks you, are you a published author? I am a pre-published author. But I am a little further along than someone who's just starting out because I'm writing my second book. And I feel like I have a little bit that I can give to the person behind me, and I have so much to learn from the people that are ahead of me. And, some of these little small groups that we've done, if you guys have had an opportunity to be a part of those, they're just members sharing what they know. So one of the things I want you guys to think about as you're leaving us is, what did I learn, but what can I share? Like, there are 90 of us here, 80 of us here, and there's 1,900 members. So what can you share with the people that you're friends with that are part of WFWA? Obviously, you need to tell them that they need to go to the retreat next year, right? Okay. But we are a community, and we are all learning. I would venture to guess that even the person who has the most, who was the person who was sitting with me the other night who has over 50 books? Where is she?
Well, Virginia's not here, so it's not Virginia.
Arena? Is it Arena?
Yes.
Somebody has over 50 books. I would guess, I'm just throwing it out there, she even learned something. What do you think? Do you think she probably learned something? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So just consider what you can bring back with you when you leave. Someone said it earlier today, I think. How do I take all of this information in and do something with it? It's going to be hard because it's a lot of information. Imagine being Angie. I mean, that's a lot of information that she is disseminating to all of us. And I imagine you sleep really well when you are, yeah. Now, for me, I maybe have the opposite because I was listening to all this information. I'm laying in bed going, how does this apply to me and my story? And all the ideas are going crazy. Anybody really excited to get back to their writing when they get back to? Absolutely. Yeah. So yes.
Thank you guys. I've learned a lot too. I'm sitting in on the talks and just talking to you guys, and I've loved every minute.
Awesome.
Oh,
isn't that nice? She could be part of our group. Yeah. Should we make her like a de facto member? I feel like we should.
I'll be a dude.
Absolutely. So we are going to have some pretty amazing things happening tonight. We are going to get to hear, I think, maybe now. You guys want to hear from our guiding scribe? Yeah. All right. So when I'm sitting next to Denny Bryce is our guiding scribe, and I'm sitting next to her, and we're looking at the thing, and she goes, "Oh, you can cut that in half, the description." I'm not gonna cut it in half. She has earned this introduction, don't you think? She's definitely earned it. All right. Denny S. Bryce is a best-selling, award-winning author of historical fiction. You guys know I do like audio stuff, so this is gonna be like the announcement. Okay, Denny S. Bryce is a best-selling, award-winning author of historical fiction, a former dancer. I got lots of questions about that. And a public relations professional. Denny is an adjunct professor and in the MFA program at Drexel University. Impressive. A book critic for NPR, and a freelance writer whose work has appeared in USA Today and Harper's Bazaar. She is also a member of the Historical Novel Society. It says Women's Fiction Writers Association, of course, and Tall Poppy Writers. Originally from Ohio, she likes to call Chicago her hometown, but currently resides in Savannah, Georgia. Welcome, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Okay, 15 minutes of uplifting conversation coming your way. First, let me tell you some more about me. Because that is actually one of my favorite topics. First, I began writing when I was very young, so I wrote stuff. And my first book was a 4th grade version of the Charlie's Angels with me and my besties. And so we solved crime in Cleveland, Ohio. So that was pretty cool. Then I actually was a professional dancer for a while, danced in New York and around the country with a lot of different companies, doing that dancer, actress, trying to get a job thing. It's being recorded. Okay, I'll share this one little thing. Back in the day when I was dancing in New York, to make money, a group of us also danced in some clubs that might be called those clubs, except back in this time period, as an African-American woman, they did not allow African-Americans in New York at the night spots. So I danced in Jersey. Wild days. I'm thinking about writing that book too. But then I fell in love with marketing and PR. And I got into that industry, oddly enough, because of my voice. I have a nice sounding voice when I think about it. And one of the things I did was talk to people on the telephone and pitch them, like Morris the Nine Lives cat was one of my clients. And so I did things like that. And back in that time period, I was in Chicago with Oprah, who was on a show called AM Chicago. And I used to talk to her on the phone and pitch her stuff. So that's my connection to Oprah Winfrey.
Wow.
Yay, Oprah. I need her today. I'm getting to the writerly part. The writerly part began when I was doing the corporate thing. And the corporate thing was, and also running my own business, marketing and PR. It was exhausting mentally, physically, all sorts of crazy levels of exhaustion, but also great fun. So to expand upon the fun, I got involved in something called fan fiction. And my fan fiction days evolved around Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I wrote over 500,000 words of Buffy the Vampire Slayer fanfic, but let me emphasize, Buffy Spike. And if you are remotely a Buffy fan, you know that that's the better couple than Buffy and Angel. And what led me into writing was a friend of mine named Alicia Raisley, who was in an organization called Romance Writers of America. And she dragged me to an RWA event. She says, "You write really well. You should come to RWA." Well, one thing I will say about RWA had in its day some of the best craft classes, teachers, authors who really enjoyed sharing at every level, no matter. I remember sitting at a table at one event with Diana Gabaldon next to me over here, and over here is the gal who wrote Princess Diary. Yes. And she's telling me about her fanfic days of writing Star Trek fanfic that she had to mail, okay? In the mail. This is like, and right. Okay, this was just astounding to me. I'm sharing all of this process because, we mentioned a community. And community, I think, is an author mindset that authors are constantly looking for, not just somebody to talk to about their writing, but someone who understands the mindset of being a writer, of being on this journey, trying to achieve this goal. And these goals are individual. They are not group goals. They are not, competitive goals. They are what it is you want to achieve as an artist, because authors are artists. Just, different form of art, but most definitely artists. Now let's go back to my crazy life. So after the fanfic, after visiting some RWA, I became a contest junkie. I can write an amazing 50,000 words. 50,001 for a while there was like, oh my God, what are you doing? It's like, oh no. Because I was really good at, I got into that contest mode. But the positive thing about contest that really helped me a lot was that I wrote a novel, or 50,000 words, of a book called Wild Women in the Blues, which was my debut novel. Thank you. Two of the judges in a contest for this book was Julia Quinn and my first agent, Nalini Akolakar. And I'm saying that deliberately. Endorsement from Julia for that book included mentioning it on the Today Show, included being one of my top blurbs. So contests are very good. And it gives you an opportunity to connect, interact. This environment right here, you're networking, but you're also getting to learn and exchange these valuable bits of knowledge. And it can feel overwhelming sometimes because it's so much coming at you, but you keep doing it. I am still a huge fan of conferences, of get-togethers on any level because of what the takeaway is. You give a lot to be there and to participate and to share and to enjoy the experience, but you feel like we used to use the term, we're with our tribe or whatever. I don't care for that term anymore, but I'm with my author people. And just to tell you what I've been doing the last 7 days. 7 days ago, I was in Jacksonville, Florida, teaching a class for Sisters in Crime, which made him laugh because he never heard of the organization and it just sounded wild. But I'm sure many of you have heard of that group. And I was teaching class for a day-long class with them, came home, had to go someplace else. And I just flew in today. Some of you saw me Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay. I flew out to Cincinnati on Thursday, taught 2 classes at the Writer's Digest thingamajiggy, and came back, and I'm here, trying to pull my thoughts together so I can be uplifting.
You are.
Okay, good. That's a good sign. The other thing about what we do and how we go about doing it, I always want folks to trust themselves and be patient with themselves. That's a key word for me. I actually hung out in the writer's world for a decade. I didn't have an agent. I played around with writing many different books, but my thing was I wanted to absorb as much as I could, learn, and talk to people and listen to what they're saying and watching their process and paying attention to that. So I didn't, some people, I know people have said to me, oh, I thought you were published years ago, because I was also a big volunteer person back in the day. I volunteered a lot with RWA, hanging out with you guys a little bit this year with the Guiding Scribe, but other organizations as well. And that's another way of staying connected and getting that extra access to the people that are a part of that organization's hierarchy. I think it's a good thing. So I'm throwing out my thing because I realized I volunteer a lot. I was on the board of directors of RWA's national organization when it existed, and some other things, several other organizations. But it was all because I wanted to be around authors and to learn more from them. But that learning is not always just about writing. It's also about understanding the ups and downs of writing, because there are a lot of ups and downs, those moments, this whole thing about, what is it called? Something where you don't, imposter syndrome, where you don't believe that you're a writer. Imposter syndrome, and I couldn't even define it, but it sometimes comes at you in a sneaky little way, where you keep rewriting the same, 2 pages of your manuscript because you just know it's not right. You know it's not good. And guess what? It's fine. I'm telling you this from the big picture, sending the stuff out. Since my debut novel debuted in whatever year that was, 2021, I've written 6 books. And yeah, that's what I say. And the thing is, I consider myself slow. And then there's this other friend of mine who writes every other year. And she, has a book come out every other year. She thinks I'm fast. And then I have another friend, a gal named Vanessa Vanessa Williams. Vanessa Riley. Vanessa Riley writes historical romance, and I always have to mention her because she's my bestie. That child can 4 months and brilliant books, but that's her energy level. But you can't compare to other people's pace. And we don't, the three of us don't really compare. We curse her. But, you know, some people just deserve that. But, you know, so stay in your own comfort zone. One of the things, I have another author friend who I brainstorm with, and I also just talked to her about my process. And one thing that we discovered recently, or that perhaps I have discovered through talking with her, is that embrace that part of your process. If you embrace your process, embrace the parts that sometimes you think are the worst parts, but that's your part. That's how you go about writing your book. That's how you go about researching your book. And those choices that you make as an individual, as an artist, as an author are okay. Nobody has to do a book the same way. And this is me going back again in time where I go to some presentations by some authors who were nameless authors, but there's this, and many instructors don't do this, you got to do it my way, but there's a tone that you hear, this is the best way, that comes out, and I'm not a fan of that. And I was telling the group that I worked with earlier today that the reason I come up with some of the classes that I do is because these are the things I need to work on. And I develop courses because that way I can, you know, do a deep dive and then connect with people who are interested in the subject matter that I've developed and say, okay, let's dig in here and see what we can discover together, what we can learn together. And so I'll probably be teaching a long time because there's so much to learn about writing. Every book you write is a new opportunity, is a new challenge, and that's another fun thing. And then tell me when to wrap, because I'm about to go on a roll where I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. I talk to a lot of authors because I'm a book critic, and a lot of publicists and publishers and things like that, just in terms of conversation. And consistently across the board, I don't care if they're a New York Times, multi-New York Times bestseller, what they call the mid-list, selling books left and right, every book is a new adventure. I mean, from people like Chanel Cleaton, people like Beatrice Williams, these gals, I'm naming a lot of historical fiction people, of course, but every book is the same thing. It's fresh, it's new, it's exciting, it's hard. Writing books is hard work. Don't let anybody tell you you have a little hobby and you're just sitting around and, you know, and even if you're working on a book for 10 years, I know it's a long time. I know, think about what's Crawdads. I like to mention her. First novel, debut, in her 70s. Okay? Go ahead, do what you have to do. She doesn't even have to go back to the second book, but that would be the ideal situation for the money. But, you know, and you should get paid. Okay? There's always a way to get paid. But I think I'm gonna go to wrapping and just say, stay excited and enthusiastic, but understand that there are good days, there are bad days, and then there are brilliant moments. And another thing that we tend not to do as authors is to remember and reward our brilliant moments. Even if those moments are New York Times bestseller, USA Today, you know, top Amazon numbers, a million books sold. Celebrate your successes, but recognize where your successes are and don't ignore them, because I think everyone in this room has success. written across your forehead because you're here and you're working on your craft. So, yay!
Well, we told her to be upbeat. What do you think? You think she did a good job? I think she did a good job. So one of the things that I mentioned when I opened this retreat was our volunteers. And we have a vice president. Well, first of all, I should talk about the board a little bit. Our board, we have 9 board members. If you are a board member, stand up. We did that earlier and there weren't that many in the room, but there are today. So these are the people who, work pretty tirelessly to make sure that everything's happening. One thing I did want to mention really quickly is the strategic planning initiative that we undertook, and I'm not going to go into any details about it, but I'm pretty excited about it because we grew as an organization pretty quickly over the last 3 or 4 years, and we needed to catch up as a board and as the group who's organizing this whole thing. And we have some pretty exciting stuff that we're putting together for you guys. So these folks who are part of the board have been doing their regular board job, and then in addition, they're working on the strategic plan. So it's pretty amazing that everybody's putting so much into what you guys are going to all benefit from. So in keeping with that, I have one of our board members, Wendy Rossi, who is our Vice President of Membership, who's going to come up and talk about volunteers.
Thanks, everyone. As Christy mentioned, I'm the Vice President of Membership, and I am winding down at the end of my 2nd term. There will be a successor in my position next year. And so this is probably the last time I'm going to address a retreat in this context. So thank you all for being here. And thank you all for participating in the incredible programming that Angie prepared for all of us and in the small breakout groups that we had. It's been one of my most enjoyable retreats, and I've been to quite a few of them. So I also want to take a minute to explain some of the details about volunteering for this organization. As you may already know, we have 1 part-time employee. Everything else that happens, from the webinars and the workshops to the newsletters to the e-zines to the behind-the-scenes support for every technology platform we deliver this stuff on, comes from a team of volunteers. Every single thing. So when you see Lisa Montanaro working on a webinar, Lisa's been our webinar host now for 5 years. She has a technology liaison that works with her to enable the technology that supports it. We have a team of people working with our online community, which we just rolled out fairly recently. And that's a platform that is solely for us. It's not a Facebook. It's not a Twitter. It's our platform where we can deliver our programming. And that whole team runs that entire platform. So we have decided as a board, and I have decided as an individual, that we need to show greater appreciation and recognition for every single role that gets performed in this organization, whether it's for 5 minutes or for 5 years. So to that end, this year we rolled out our very first volunteer recognition program. In order to do that, I solicited help from yet another volunteer. Her name is Kathy Jenkins. And she and Krista White, who is our volunteer coordinator for 2 years, came up with a program of offerings to show each of our volunteers how much we appreciate them. So just by a show of hands, can anybody who is currently volunteering raise their hand? Thank you all so much. This wouldn't be happening without volunteers. So thank you. Anybody who has ever volunteered for this organization, show your hands. a big part of this work. So what we started doing was we decided to do a random raffle once a month. And every month we are drawing 4 names out of a random number generator that align blindly to a list of volunteers. And those 4 volunteers each month get a $25 bookstore.org gift card. So that's just randomly, here, find a book, right? And none of us read, right? None of us have a TBR that's about the length of the next 20 years. We are also going to be recognizing the more senior volunteers in our organization that lead entire teams. So those people will be getting an award at the end of the year as a once a year award. There are other things in the works. I don't know, they're not refined enough to really talk about yet, but we're talking about things like early registrations for various activities, whether it be a workshop or a retreat or a conference or something of that nature. We're talking about being able to have little columns in our e-zines highlighting a team or a special volunteer that stepped up. We're talking about making sure that our Inside WFWA newsletter profiles people that have done an exceptional job. So if you want to be highlighted, you'll have those opportunities. If you want to stay behind your screen and never be recognized publicly, we're okay with that. We don't have to promote you publicly, but we want to show you what it means to us as an organization and to the individuals that run the organization, what it means to have you participate. So with that said, I just want to thank you all again for being here, for participating, and if you need to express an opinion about what kinds of programming or what kinds of other recognition you think might serve everybody's needs, write to me. I'm at membership@womensfictionwriters.org, and I'm happy to put any suggestions under consideration. So thank you all again.
Do you remember when we opened this and I said volunteers, volunteers, volunteers? Yeah. I'm not going to say any more about that. So we have come to the part of the evening that I think people are excited about. This is the award ceremony part of the evening. So we are going to start with the Rising Star Award. And speaking of volunteers, we have one of 2 coordinators of the Rising Star program. Hadley Leggett is going to come up and do the honors, and I get to be Vanna.
All right, thank you, Christy. I am so excited to be giving out tonight's Rising Star Award. Before what's everyone laughing at? Before I get started, I just want to thank my co-chair, Sarah LaFontaine, who can't be here tonight. But she has been running this award for 3 years now, and she is the reason that the award runs as smoothly and as seamlessly as it does. So I just really want to thank Sarah for all of her hard work. She's worked on it very, very hard. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Rising Star Award, this is an award for pre-published authors, and it has been running now for 14 years. And if you go back and look at the finalists and winners from previous years, you will see many books that are now out there in the world. This award has, including mine. This award has helped a lot of writers find their agents and go on to publish. And so it is just a fantastic resource that we have for our community. And I want to congratulate every one of the 100 people who entered the award this year. It is a really big deal to put yourself out there. First of all, it's a huge deal to finish a book. All 100 of those authors had completed manuscripts, and then they put themselves out there and said, I'm going to submit for this award and subject myself to feedback. And so everyone deserves applause for submitting to the award. And then the other group I have to thank is our 70, more than 70 actually, first round judges who were WFWA members, and all of them are published authors or book coaches and book editors. And so I'm wondering, do we have any first round judges here tonight that we need to recognize? Raise your hand if you were a first round judge. Thank you so much. We absolutely could not do the contest without you. And if you want to be a judge next year, I will be finding you. If you are a published author in WFWA, I will track you down. We also had 6 agent judges who volunteered to be our second round judges. So out of the 100 manuscripts that were entered, 5 of them were chosen as finalists, and I will get to those in just a second. And they, those manuscripts were submitted to our 6 agent judges, and they picked the winner. So without further ado, I will tell you the finalists. And we have 3 finalists tonight. So when I call your name, come on up because we have a little token for you. So the finalists for the 2024 Rising Star Award in alphabetical order are Denise Brandt for Istanbul Dreaming. And we have these lovely little medals for you guys. And then next we have Jacqueline Coleman for Playing in the Shadow of the Wind. And Anna Kramer for The Swan. And then we've got Elizabeth Luciano for The Tribe of Melancholy Women. Congratulations. And Stephanie Webb for This One Little Life. And every one of these entries was incredible, so it was a very difficult decision for our judges to make. The winner of the 2024 Rising Star Award is Jacqueline Coleman for Playing in the Shadow of the Wind. Yeah, unfortunately she couldn't make it, but here is the beautiful award and it will be mailed to her. So thank you, congratulations to everyone who entered and especially our 5 finalists. Thank you so much.
All right, well, we have another contest. So that was the Rising Star, and then we have the Star Award. And we have our wonderful volunteer, Ginger Haggerty, who runs that program, and she is gonna come and help us talk about that one.
All right. Hi, everybody. I have to say much of what Hadley said about the Rising Star is also applicable to the Star Award. So I actually also want to take it from the top. So first of all, the Star Award is for published women's fiction. So in this pool, we have novels that are traditionally published as well as self-published. The pool itself was 88 novels submitted. So that's where we're starting with. We have 2 categories, so general and debut. Within that though, or rather on top of that, we have, again, 2 rounds of judges. So also, I'm pretty sure we have a couple of people who were first round judges here. If you could raise your hand if you read for the Star Award, that would be lovely. All right, thank you. I love seeing that, thank you so much. I know, again, this was, every judge reads 3 complete novels within 2.5 months. So thank you for your time, thank you for your dedication. I know that it means a lot. These authors, again, are submitting their work, all published within, in this case, 2023, to a pool of their peers. So all judges are, actually no, most judges, 2/3 are WFWA members, and we have a couple of other outside judges as well, but all are readers of women's fiction. So thank you so much. On top of that, we have our final round, our 6 librarians. So we have 6 librarians that we've recruited who we send these novels, the finalists, and they read them. And then they also submit their feedback. So first round, second round, and here we are. I do want to say, I wrote down some stats. So yes, 88 entries in total and 85 first round judges. That's a lot of people who submitted their time and just spent time with these novels to help us
see who our finalists are. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward to who are the finalists for the general category. So these are authors who have published before and submitted their 2023 novels for the Star Award. I also just want to say right now, none of our authors for either the general or the debut are here. So what I'm going to do though is I would like us to run through the finalists. If we could all clap for them again, because many are tuning in virtually, and then I'll go ahead and announce the winner. All right, so the finalists for the general category are Girl Braiding Her Hair by Marta Molnar. Yeah, every time. All right, 5 Winters by Kitty Johnson. And then Once Upon a Life by Rebecca Taylor. All right, so now I'd like to go ahead and announce who the final, or rather the winner for the general category is. And for 2024, the winner is 5 Winters by Kitty Johnson. I'd also like to share that Kitty is a UK member, so she was kind enough to let me know that she was not going to be able to tune in, given that it is the middle of the night there. All right. Okay, so next we have the debut category. So again, these are all authors who are published. This is our very first book that they've gone ahead and put out in the world. So we have Follow the Sun by Liz Locke. We have La Vie According to Rose by Lauren Pardisi. And then The Art of Becoming Another Person Entirely by Brenda Arnold. All right. And so the winner of the debut category, or rather the Star Award debut category, is La Vie According to Rose by Lauren Pardisi. All right, and so these are the 2 winners for this year. I would be remiss if I did not make a plug for the coming year. These awards begin, at least this award starts in February, which is when the entries open. If you are publishing this year, if you have a friend who is publishing women's fiction in 2024, please share this award. We will open in probably mid-January, and that will be, we have submit, and then we will also be recruiting for our first round of judges. So in the beginning of the year. So to Hadley's point, I will be submitting many requests to our communications teams to push it out there, in the sense that we love having returning judges. We also love having new people join to be part of this amazing opportunity to read new works of fiction and to give these writers a chance to, take a pass at these awards. So thank you so much, and that is all for tonight.
All right, well, what do you think? How's this retreat been? Be honest. Come on, really? It's not that good then, huh? Really? Okay. I think we have one more day of this retreat.
Yeah.
And it sounds like we're gonna have some fun tomorrow, because we get to be the agents. Did anybody read through the query letters yet? I haven't had a chance to do that yet. That sounds really fun. Yeah. So just in case you didn't hear the news, next year we will have one retreat. Leah, I think we're gonna sell out next year. We're gonna sell out next year because we will have one retreat. So we are moving this retreat to the spring. Now, because we all had such an amazing time here, I bet we all would come in 6 months, but logically, that doesn't really make a lot of sense for us to try and bank on that. So we are moving this retreat to spring of 2026. So we will have the fall Albuquerque retreat. I have never been to, and I'm very excited to get to go. So we will have the Albuquerque retreat in fall, and then in 2026 in the spring, we will be back here. So I know, you got to wrap your head around that one, right? So enjoy this and take a lot of pictures. I have been really bad at taking pictures. If you know me, or even if you don't know me, come and take a picture with me. Like, we need pictures. We definitely need pictures. And I believe we have a hashtag, right? What's our
Yes,
hashtag?
we do. WFWA WFWA retreat on retreat 24.
Okay, WFWA Retreat 24. Hashtag. Put it out there, all right? Hashtag first, however that works. All right, well, I am very tired of talking. I don't know how she does it for 3 days, 4 hours a day, but I think I'm gonna let you guys go. So thank you so much for being with us.